Today I want to talk to you about sacrifice. He said, no man taketh it from me, but I lay it down myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. There are very few people that have passed this test of sacrifice in our world today, because it's one of the subjects that our generation don't want to hear about. When we begin to talk about sacrifice, people faces change, but sacrifice is what separates preachers from preachers. It is what separates businessmen from businessmen. Sacrifice is what separates the great from the small. It is what separates those who have succeeded from those who have not succeeded. If you have met a man who have succeeded in life, it is a man who have sacrificed in life. Until you sacrifice, there are some highs you cannot attain in the realms of God. Even in the occult kingdom, they have to sacrifice. They have to give something to gain something. They have to lay down something in order to gain or win something in their lives. Until you lay down something, there's nothing for you. So whenever you see a man holding a throne, that man has laid down something. He said, I have the power to lay it down and the power to take it again. In other words, you must have power to lay down what you have. If you do not have power to lay it down, it was never yours. You must have power. In other words, it is in your own will to give it. It is in your own will to lay it down. I have the power to lay it down. If you can't remember what you have given up in life, then you have not yet sacrificed in life. There must be some notable thing that you can never forget after giving it up in life. It's part of it. If you look at your life and there's nothing you have given up, you cannot remember something tangible, something feelable you have given up in life, then you have not yet given up. You have not yet sacrificed in life. There is something that should be traced, that you give up something, that thing you have given, you can never forget about it until Christ returns. That is what we call sacrifice. Any sacrifice that do not cost you is not a sacrifice. And I'm saying this, we keep repeating it over and over. There are some of you, you will sit here for more than 5 years, yet there are some things you will not catch, because you are like the man at the pool of Bethesda who was there for 38 good years. Do not be like him. Open up your mind. Hear me well. I want to encourage people to give some things up, to lay down your life, lay down many things in order to get some things for yourself. And there are many things many people have to give up. Something you have the power to lay down. This thing you have to give up. There are things you have the power to lay down. There are things you do willingly. No one will force you, but you have that power to do it. If there is something in your life you cannot yet lay down, which means you have not yet given to God. And whatever you are afraid of laying down, you will become a slave to that thing. Anything you cannot give up, you are a slave. If you cannot give up your time, you are slave to time. If you cannot give your body, you are a slave to your body. If you cannot give your money, you are a slave to your money. Whatever you cannot give up, no matter what pastor is saying, nothing can move you to give that thing up. You become a slave to that thing. So check, what do I have that I know that I cannot give this thing up? If I give it up, I will go back for it. What is it that you cannot give up? And like I told you, sacrifice must cost you. Anything that you give to God that is not costing you is not a sacrifice, it's a gift. I can give you a gift, it's just a gift. Your birthday, I give you a gift, it's a gift. But there are some things when men begin to do it, they were sacrifices. They are sacrificing their time, sacrificing their resources, sacrificing their body, everything, their strength. They are giving it just for a cause. And that is what we call a sacrifice. And now, in every realm, God is looking for the most expensive thing in that realm. And until you sacrifice or offer the most expensive and the most important thing in that realm, you cannot conquer that realm. If you see a man conquering the realm of the earth, it is a man who has given the most important thing on earth. Any man who conquered the realm of the spirit is a man who have given the most important thing in the realm of the spirit. Jesus conquered the earth and the heavens because he gave the most important and the most expensive thing. On earth, he laid down his life. Hear me well. There are things you need to control your realm. And some of those things is to give the most important thing in that realm. I told most of you that the most expensive thing on earth is your soul. It's not your money. It's not your car. Come on, they are material things. How many of you discovered that in 1992, the houses that are built today, in 1992, they were not there. In 18, 17, 16, 15, they were not there. The most expensive house during the 15s It's a house that even the most poorest man will not want to sleep inside. The most expensive thing on earth is your soul. And Jesus made a statement in the book of Mark 8:36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and loses his own soul? 37. Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? What shall a man give in exchange for what? His soul. The most expensive commodity on earth is your soul. That is why after Christ died, the first thing he asked for is your soul. He died for your soul, your body, and everything, your spirit. But the first thing Jesus normally asks of when he comes to your life is that Jesus asks for your soul. Give me your soul. Surrender your soul. Most Christians don't have problem of giving their soul because they don't even know where it is. If they could have traded their soul to any person without giving it to Jesus, they would have given it to that person. They would have asked that person, how much are you bringing? The person will say $1 million. What, Jesus, how much? And Jesus will say, no price. If you already bring it, he will say, I will go for $1 million. That is why people gave their souls to the devil just to be financially sound. So your soul is the most important thing. So God will demand for your soul. That is why you gave your soul. But some of you, the problem here is that you have given your soul, but there is something you cannot give. Right now, your soul is no longer like you have handed it over to God, but there are things that you know that no man can convince you to give it. You are holding on to it. It is what I'm looking for this morning. The Lord sent me to you to collect it, so that after you give it to God, you can now conquer your realm. You cannot conquer your realm because you are holding to that thing you cannot give to God. That is why you can't conquer your realm. No man can convince you. 1 Kings 18:30. And Elijah said unto all the people, come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of the Lord that was broken down. 31. And Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of sons of Jacob. Unto him the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. 32. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord. And he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, laid him on the wood, and said, fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. Do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, do it the third time. And they did it the third time. The Bible said Elijah called the false prophets of Baal. There were about 400 of them. So the man of God called them together and said, this is what I want to do. We need to go on a competition. And after we went on the competition, whoever wins is the one who serves the true God. So he asked the false prophets of Baal to take the lead, and they took the lead. The Bible said the false prophet of Baal, whilst they were trying to call down fire to consume the burnt offering they put on the altar, this was what happened. The Bible said they sang and danced. Singing and dancing is a sacrifice. There are times God wants you to sing and dance, especially if you think that you are a CEO of a company, so you cannot sing in a church. You may give God $1 million and it will not move him, but to shake your leg, God will be moved. Whatever you think is expensive for you to offer is what God is interested in. God is not interested in your money when money becomes nothing to you. So there is a rich man who can enter here and give us $1 million. We will clap our hands. But in the realm of God, he has not done anything. Because God knows what is in their accounts. And God knows that $1 million has not moved them. So that is why Jesus said that the woman that gave the coin was the one who gave more than everybody. Among all the donations Jesus received, he said the woman, the widow coin was the greatest. Why? Because it cost the widow everything to offer that. Now, so in the realm of God, it is not what you give that move him. It is what costs you. That is why we have to be careful when we are celebrating men who have donated the biggest in church. That is why we should not give them a front seat. They may be sitting in front in church, but in the realms of God, they are at the back. It doesn't matter the amount you have given. The Bible said, to whom much is given, much is what? Required. So I may give God 1,000 and God is angry. Why? Because he knows that 1,000 is nothing. So he is expecting more than that. Now, there are people that their time is important to God. God is looking for their time. That when God comes to them, he said, give me your time. Because there are people, they are so busy. I told you that the late Mas Moron, he was making $10,000 every hour. And in 2013, in the month of July, he was fully booked. And people called him and they have to book them for 2015. So from 2013 July, his 2014 was fully booked. So he has to push people to 2015. A man like this, when he give God $1 million, God will not be moved. But a man like this, when he give God, if he say, okay, I'm going for waiting, though 1 hour will give me $10,000, but I'm going for waiting for 1 week, this is when God will get up and say, no, this man has done the right thing, because time is costing him. But if you came to church and you are sitting in church and said, as I am sitting here, I'm giving my time to God, I'm sacrificing. Please, sir, that time, if you did not give it to God and give it to yourself, what will you get from that time? What is your profit in your own time? You have no profit. Now, let me tell you something which probably will change the way you offer your services to God. And there is another man that when that man comes to church, or when that woman comes to church, God is looking for that woman or that man to serve him with his body. Bodily sacrifice. God is looking for you to serve him with your body, to join a service unit or something and start serving. This is what God is demanding from you. And let me tell you something. Some people cannot work for God because they have said so many negative things about God that even when they begin to work for God, the people they have, sometimes, do you know that some people cannot relate with you because they've said so many negative things? So now that if they are relating with you and people see them, they will wonder what is actually happening. They cannot come close because what they have said has taken them away. Now look at this. Dancing is a what? Sacrifice. Singing is a sacrifice. I have seen over and over that men dance in the village and invoke spirits and begin to perform miracles. Fetish priests, they invoke spirit by dancing because their dancing is a sacrifice. So they are sacrificing to their gods. Blood is the highest sacrifice in the realm of the spirit. So these people, they were calling their God. They started by dancing. Their dancing wasn't working. They did animal sacrifice. Animal sacrifice was not working. And the Bible said they began to cut themselves with knives. And blood was falling through their body down to the altar. Yet, fire did not come down. When it was the time of Elijah decided to use a different approach. The Bible said he picked 12 stones that represent the 12 tribes of Jacob. Now, he's standing on a covenant. The second thing he did was that he cut the bulls into pieces and put them on the altar. And he said, fetch 4 barrels of water and pour it on the altar. They fetch, they pour. He said, do it the second time. They did. Do it the third time. They did. That is 12 barrels of water. And those days, remember, it has not rained for 3.5 years. So the most expensive commodity in Israel at that time was water, not blood. God was not looking for blood. He was looking for water. So the most expensive thing was what? Water. So the man of God caught the revelation and he knew that if I use water, I will get results. So he said, pour water, they pour. Pour again, they pour. Pour the third time, they pour. 12 barrels of water. Number one, assuming the fire didn't come down, where will you get the water to pay back? At that time, animals were dying of thirst. Human beings were dying of thirst. Yet the guy poured 12 barrels of water on an altar. That fire has not yet come down. Hear me well. Sometimes giving money whilst you are hungry does not mean you are stupid. It is a sacrifice. To give a seat and go home hungry does not mean you are stupid. You are a smart gentleman. You have no idea what great men did and they are where they are. Do not admire the greatness of men. Look for their scars. What they have gone through to be where they are. What type of sacrifices have they offered to attain that level they are inside? Look for that. It's easy to say, let fire come down. You are calling down fire on an altar you have not sacrificed on. Fire don't consume things that has not attract the attention of heaven. Hey, if I be a man of God, fire. Which fire are you talking about? Do you know where Elijah was and called the fire? The Bible says he was on top of a mountain. That word mountain is an exalted place. In the realm of the spirit, mountain talks about a man separated to fasting and prayer that has been exalted by God. That's mountain. If you climb and say fire, fire, nothing will happen. Because fasting, prayer, separation sometimes can be a sacrifice. Staying away from WhatsApp can be a sacrifice in the realm of the spirit. God can bless you just because you stay away from WhatsApp. Some of you, if you ask you for money, you will give. If you ask you for your house, you will give. What if you ask you for your phone? Mbano, you can't give it. So God will demand for your phone than your house. Whatever you cannot give is what God is interested in. So sometimes when people say bring your Isaac, the Isaac they are talking about does not mean everybody must have Isaac like Abraham was having Isaac. Isaac is what is expensive in your realm. To control your realm, you need to give your Isaac. When Abraham gave Isaac, he became a father. And the Bible said, and through the seed of Isaac, not the seed of Abraham. The Bible said, and through the seed of Isaac, you will take over the whole world. You gave me that seed after 25 years of waiting. Abraham waited 25 years for Isaac. And after God gave him Isaac, the next few years, he came back and said, give me that Isaac. Let me tell you something, a secret. I've never crossed over with money in my accounts. After I listened to one man of God who shared that script, I tap into it. Whenever we are crossing over, any money that is in my accounts does not belong to me. I offload it. There are things, if I tell you, you will not be ready to do them. And when we tell you, it is not boasting. We are telling you some of the steps that helped us. It's not boasting. And it's not because I want you to offload for me. No, sir. No, madam. In the world, they rise by saving and following financial principles. In God's kingdom, you follow covenants. In the realm of God, you gain by giving, but in the realm of the world, you gain by receiving. So you must know the realm you are operating from. When we read the book of Hebrew the chapter 8, you will begin to discover the Bible says, by faith, Abraham sacrificed Isaac. By faith, Moses decided not to enjoy the pleasures that was in Pharaoh's house, but he left them. Why? Moses needed to give the throne of Egypt to conquer Egypt. Whatever you cannot give, you cannot conquer. The throne of Egypt was the most expensive commodity in Egypt. Whenever you assume the throne, you become Pharaoh by force. Do you know that all the gods in Egypt, Pharaoh was the first god? Pharaoh was the number one god. Every other god submitted to Pharaoh. So Pharaoh was worshipped as a god. So you become Pharaoh by assuming that throne. So Moses rejected that throne. He came back to that throne he rejected and conquered it. Some of you, you can't conquer what you are looking for if you are not ready to give some things in life. That is why you have to read the God's general. Read and find out, what did each God's general give up? What did they lay down? What did they sacrifice to be the general that they were recorded in the book? Check your life. There is something you cannot lay down. I read about Prophet William Branham. The guy was not a prophet. Prophet William Branham was a god. I'm sorry to use that word. What a man, displaying the supernatural like the way we are, the way we display the natural. What a man can be prophesying and just said, I'm tired, sat down, and after he sat down, he was serving this staff. He put the staff against the pulpit and said, anybody who wants to be delivered should come and stand in front of his staff. They brought cancer people. One of the stories is that cancer of the stomach, a cancer came out like they have done surgery on it. It disappeared from the woman's stomach and fell on the ground physically. One day he was praying for a woman with a goiter and put the hand like this and removed the goiter, and they could see blood in the hand. So he performed miracles to understand. His church members begin to worship him. That was the fall of Prophet William Branham. He fell. How did he fail? Church members said, this is God, and he accepted it. And God left. He won almost half of the world population in his generation. One day, Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa read about how he performed a miracle, how he made a woman to give birth in 3 days. And then he too, he met one woman who was barren for more than 20 years, and he said that, you give birth in 3 days' time. Yes, Prophet William Branham went to one of the cities in the United States of America. Out of anger, he was prophesying and met a woman who has been barren for more than 40 years. And the woman was old. And according to stories, the woman has been serving God faithfully for 40 years. He got angry and said, God, is this the reward you give to those who are faithful to you? You, in 3 days' time, give birth. And touch the woman. In 3 days' time, the woman gave birth. No pregnancy. After that story came out, he gained popularity on the whole earth, that people begin to worship him. Even in India, they erected gods and they say, Prophet William Branham. Instead of him to fight it, he accepted it. And the Lord left. And he became like any other man on earth. But do you know what happened? Prophet William Branham gave a lot in his days. He laid down a lot. He laid down. He was choleric, very, very temperamental. When you get him angry, he can beat you, bury you, kill a gangster. But he has to lay down that life. And the Lord came and said, okay, let's now do business. Read about that man. You will know how the mighty has fallen. Some of you, God don't want your money because he knows that your money is not your problem. If it is money, you will give God. You have it. God wants your pride. People are very proud, very pompous. Even as they are kneeling down with their knees, but they are standing up in the realm of the spirit. God knows. What do you have that you cannot give? I want you to locate one thing you can give up. One thing that you have not laid on the altar of God. Bring it and put it down. Tell God, this is all of me. Collect. I know some people, it's your money. It's just that in the church, We have everyday fundraising. But it is not money that is a sacrifice. But most people, it's money. Some people can give you their time. They can give you everything. They can give you their life. As a matter of fact, it's only their money they can give. When it is money, no. Pastor want to dupe us. It's not your money God is looking for. Anyone who made that statement, it's not your money God is looking for. He's looking for your soul first. Until you give your soul, you have nothing to offer God. Your soul is the first thing you must offer him. That is why collecting money from somebody who is not born again, you are just, that's not a sacrifice. It's a gift. The person is giving you a gift. If you really want to sacrifice, bring us your soul. We need your soul. Have you now seen what separates preachers from preachers? Sacrifice. There are some people, it's their beauty. They can't give it. Even when they are praying, they look at themselves. And some of you have never danced. Stop giving us offering and dance one Sunday. You don't know how to shake. You are just there. Nothing moves you during praises. And there are some people, even while they are doing worship, they are blowing in tongues. When they say, lift up your hands, oh ye people, lift up your hands, oh ye people, you do like this. You felt like the ones that lift up your hands, that is God leading you through him or her. And let me tell you something. No, pastors are not many here. But let me tell you, members are no longer greedy. Pastors are the greediest. Me, throughout my life in ministry, I have never met greedy people like pastors. Hey, they only receive. They don't know how to give. Very greedy. If you see them giving, know that they are going to benefit from that giving. They only sow seed to people that will give them platforms to preach. People are not ready to lay down some things. They just want to arrive.